our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your
Keep following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting. A movement of people, it's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. Sounding a little bit scratchy today, just a little bit scratchy because these allergies are kicking my behind. Anybody else dealing with these allergies? Are the allergies in LA as aggressive as they are here in Washington, D.C.? I don't even really have allergies. But I'm told as you get a little bit older that it's not unusual for you to begin to have allergy symptoms. And so here I am sounding like Delarice, sounding like somebody. But I feel fine. I feel fine for the most part. I just sound a little scratchy. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because Andy, my brother Andy, our sound engineer, he got jokes. He over here auditioning for his Netflix comedy special. He said I sound like Cookie Monster. Dikembe Mutombo. Oh my good. Well, if I sound like the Cookie Monster, is it the employed or unemployed Cookie Monster in light of all the drama over at PBS? I don't know, but I hope you all are having a great day. It is it's feeling like summer. Allergies and all. It's feeling like summer. And so I hope folks are really enjoying the change in temperature as much as I am. But you're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and White House correspondent. If you haven't already, follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app. Have you downloaded the KBLA app? Do it already. Download the KBLA app. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, drop it in your group chat, because that way we can stay connected. We'll stay connected, all through the summer and beyond. And so go ahead and download the KBLA app. And while you're at it, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, it's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Nothing so ugly about this at all. In fact, the three of them are beautifully made. I'm talking about Salt and Pepper. They have sued the record label to reclaim the right to their recordings, including Push It. That's right, Salt and Pepper. They're telling the record label not to push it as they fight for the rights to their music. The Associated Press reporting that the groundbreaking duo behind hip-hop classics, including 1993's Shoop and 1987's Push It, say in a lawsuit that Universal Music Group is violating copyright law by refusing to agree to turn over the rights to their master recordings. Cheryl James, also known as Salt, and Sandra Denton, also known as Peppa, they filed the lawsuit in federal court in New York on today, asserting that the Copyright Act of 1976, which says that after several decades, artists can terminate previous agreements and reclaim ownership of their recordings, they say that clearly now applies to them. The fight, which has led the Universal Music Group pulling Salt and Peppa's music from their streaming services, comes as many artists with beloved legacies are making lucrative sales of their catalogs while others get stuck in classic record label battles over old contracts. The Universal Music Group representatives didn't immediately respond to any email seeking comment, but the lawsuit suggests that situations like Salt and Peppa's are the very reason that provisions of the Copyright Act exist. It allows artists who made deals at the beginning of their careers when they were relatively powerless to use the cultural standing and musical legacy that they later established. And so this is also another reminder of how important our intellectual property is in terms of building wealth, right? The things that Salt and Pepper will be able to do with ownership of their copyright, endless. If they want to sell their catalog, they can. If they want to re-release it, they can. There's so many different things that they can do through so many different modes. And this is why our intellectual property matters. This is why folks like Ryan Coogler negotiated the deal that he negotiated. And so to all the young artists out there, pay close attention. Speaking of paying close attention, a lot of folks paying close attention to the Diddy trial. We're now heading into our second week. NBC News reporting that Don Richards testifies about drug use and guns and Cassie Ventura beating. So this is where the sex trafficking trial stands as of now. Former Danity Kane member Don Richards, she returned to the stand today. She testified last week that she witnessed Diddy attack Cassie with a skillet filled with eggs. The defense tried to undermine her credibility by highlighting inconsistencies with her statements and her attempts to continue working with Combs despite alleged violence that she witnessed. Cassie's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, also took the stand today. She described multiple instances where she says that she saw Diddy physically abuse Cassie and a time where she herself was allegedly attacked by Combs. Morgan also testified that Cassie was jealous of Combs' ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter, and that Combs was jealous of Ventura's relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan. So, you know, that name Michael B. Jordan had been kind of in the ether, and a lot of us were wondering, well, what does Michael B. Jordan have anything to do with this? This might begin to answer that question. They also called to the stand David James, a former personal assistant to Combs. James began a pretty tearful testimony describing his hiring process when an executive at Bad Boy Entertainment told him, quote, "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom, and we're all here to serve in it." He also said that Cassie told him that she couldn't leave Combs because he controlled her career and her money. You might remember that Diddy faces 5 criminal counts. 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy has vociferously denied the allegations against him. And so that is the latest on the Diddy trial. Finally, at the top of the last hour, the president kicked off the Kennedy Center board meeting as he seeks to remake arts and culture in America. President Trump, he hosted the Kennedy Center's leadership at the White House tonight at 7 o'clock. I left right before it started, reinforcing how much attention he's devoting to remaking this premier cultural center as a part of a larger effort to overhaul the social and ideological dynamics of the national art scene. The meeting of the center's board in the state dining room comes after Trump fired previous members. Y'all remember that? I mean, I don't know how people still had time they still had time left in their tenure to serve, and they all left. Did nobody put up a fight, but the new board, which unanimously approved Trump as chair, is stocked with loyalists. Members include the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Usha Vance, the wife of Vice President J.D. Vance, and Lee Greenwood, whose song God Bless the USA plays at Trump rallies, as well as a lot of official events, particularly this past week in the Middle East. Trump called the Kennedy Center's past programming woke. He called it terrible. And while more broadly seeking to slash federal funding for the arts, complaining that too much programming promotes leftist ideology and political correctness. That's your president. That's what he said. When we come forward, we're switching gears. We're going to stretch out with an award-winning author, filmmaker, and musician, Nick Brooks. He's got a book coming out called Up in Smoke, which is perfect for fans of Karen McManus and The Hate U Give. We're going to hear all about it when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Febreze.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one.
Who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. I'm really delighted to welcome Nick Brooks. He's an award-winning author, a filmmaker, and a musician whose storytelling, it spans literature. This brother's body of work spans film, TV, and music. And he's got an upcoming book that is creating quite a bit of buzz. It's called Up in Smoke. And here to talk all about it, the Nick Brooks.
Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. And, it's great to sort of switch gears a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about some of the headlines that are trending a little bit later. But first things first, this book that you have written, it is set in the heart of Washington, D.C., where I'm at today. Nice. It's a story that explores the themes of identity and self-discovery and that complicated intersection of family and ambition. Talk to us about how you pulled this book together. Like where did this come from?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I always like to write from the heart, and I always like to start with what do I want to say? What do I want young kids to be picking up from my work? What messages do I want to send? And so for this one, the inspiration actually came from a young lady in Chicago, 10th grader. I was in Chicago speaking to some kids, and she stood up and she asked me, how do we combat systemic oppression? And it was such a heavy question that I didn't have an answer for in the moment, but I got to thinking about it. And through that, I realized that our kids are ready to talk about things like activism and, what it means to be a young revolutionary. And so that's really where the concept for Up in Smoke, comes from. And for people who don't know, Up in Smoke is about two teens, Cooper and Monique, who are trying to solve a murder that happens at a Black Lives Matter protest. And so, yes, identity and family are heavy topics, but also what it means to be a young revolutionary, what it means to be a young activist.
I mean, what a time for a story like this, where we're seeing, our country lurk to the right on the political spectrum. We're seeing all sorts of executive orders being signed that at a minimum challenge our civil rights and civil liberties. You could not have predicted that we would be experiencing this in America in this way. Talk to us about what it's been like for you as an artist, writing a story that seems to be situated with a heightened level of relevance in this current moment.
Man, you're touching on something there, and I'm going to grab something. I'm going to show you something that's going to really blow your mind. But as artists, I think we are, whatever we're speaking through, we're tapping into something, right? Like I like to think that as an artist, there's something speaking through me, You know, I'm tapping into a consciousness that's unseen, and I'm astounded time and time again when I create something and see it either happen, you know, or see, like, you know, like in your words, you know, us predicting something that's happening. Even in the book, you know, one of the things that really kind of set off this chain of events in the book is that the summer youth employment program in DC is shut down. And this, you know, I wrote this before Doge, right? We were cutting all of these government programs. Summer youth employment program was something that helped me when I was a kid, right? But I could see, again, I don't know what I'm tapping into, but I'm tapping into something, and it's amazing. I'll show you something really quick, man, just because this really kind of spooked me. But you know, the book is paired with an album, and on the cover of the album, you have this building burning, right? This came out 2 weeks ago. And if you don't know, last week, a building resembling this in Louisiana mysteriously caught fire.
A plantation.
Exactly. And so it's actually kind of went viral online because people thought that was promotion for this album. and
really?
Yeah, but I'm like, you know, it's hard for me to put in words, but as artists, we're definitely tapping into something.
Wow. So, I mean, you know, the ancestors are working through you. Exactly. And when we come forward, we're going to dig even deeper into what the ancestors have been working on with this marvelous work that folks should put on their summer reading list.
Yeah.
Because I know there are a lot of people out there that are feeling all sorts of kinds of ways about what's afoot in the world and, you know, what does that mean for them? You know, how they need to move as an artist, as just a concerned, you know, citizen of the world, as a person of conscience. And so the story that that you have developed, that you've written, really gets to the heart of that. And so when we come forward more with Nick Brooks, who is the author of Up in Smoke. If you haven't, make a note, put it on your calendar. Be sure to go and pick this up. It is situated in the heart of Washington, D.C. It's a thrilling book, and it's got a pretty good soundtrack. So I've been told.
Yeah.
More with Nick Brooks when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Biden is weighing treatment options after being diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer. The news has many questioning how it went undetected for so long. Experts note PSA screenings are typically done before age 70. Biden is 82. Memorial Healthcare Uro-Oncology Chief Dr. Jonathan Silverstein adds Black men face a higher risk for prostate cancer, making early screening critical in our community. A man has been sentenced to 35 years for the 2023 road rage killing of a Black Seattle activist, Elijah Lewis. Patrick Cooney was found guilty of murder and assault after also injuring Lewis's 9-year-old nephew. The judge noted Cooney had a history of threatening Black drivers. And Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson outlined his vision for the city, vowing to revitalize the West and South Sides and boost entrepreneurship. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Slowing in Irvine, 5 northbound, leaving Jeffrey Road all the way to Harbor in Anaheim. Tough in Santa Clarita, 14 northbound, crowded from the 5 to Placerita Canyon Road. The 5 northbound slowing down out of Boyle Heights from the 60 and stretches all the way to the 210 merge. And the Cajon Pass, 15 northbound, delays from Kenwood to the 138. Also slowing down in Harupa Valley, eastbound side of the 60 from Pyrite to Heacock Street. right.
Are you sick of drying chlorinated water in your home? At LifeSource, they believe your health, your skin, and your hair deserve better. Enjoy delicious, clean water from every tap with a LifeSource water system. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A jersey worn by Michael Jordan when he played for the Chicago Bulls in the 1992-93 season sold for $2.6 million at an auction over the weekend. The interesting thing about this purchase is that Jordan played only 17 games in the jersey that season. The Dodgers are still in first place in the National League West after getting swept at home by the Angels over the weekend. The sweep by the Angels did knock the Dodgers out of the top spot for Major League Baseball's best record. That honor now belongs to the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers in first place in the American League Central Division are 31-16. The Dodgers begin a 3-game series tonight at home against Arizona. The Angels are in Oakland tonight to start a 3-game series. Former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Santonio Holmes, MVP of the Super Bowl in 2009, has agreed to become wide receivers coach at HBCU Central State University. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Following the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news of consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and he's Nick Brooks. He's the author of the book Up in Smoke. The book was released on May 6th, so you can go out and purchase it now. It is being called a lot of things, including, quotes, a dynamic and heart-pounding thriller about systemic injustice. They say Up in Smoke has the highest of stakes and a tender love story at its core. They say Nick Brooks is a force. Nick, as if you don't know it, folks are already calling you one of the most exciting Black creative voices of your generation. What does it feel like to have people talking about you like that?
I guess it feels good. You know, I kind of just keep my head down and do the work, you know. And that's what I like. You know, I like to be in front of kids and have them read the book and you know, when they see the words on the page, they get lost in that. That's what really excites me.
And it excites you in part because you were an educator. You were an educator working with at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand, many of the stories that you share are inspired by your experiences as an educator turned filmmaker. You know, and apparently you also authored a middle grade series as well. And so, you know, talk to us about the kind of legacy that you're building. I mean, people are calling you, you know, one of the most exciting Black creative voices of a generation. Our leaders, learners, and listeners want to understand, you know, what is distinctly different in your artistic choices and your artistic expression compared to some who may have come before you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about telling stories that I know, you know, and speaking to the kids that I taught, speaking to kids that I mentored, you know, in my hometown of DC. You know, I taught at-risk youth, at-risk boys in DC from middle school up through high school. I coached Little League football. I think for me, you know, I guess the thing that may be distinct is I'm telling stories particularly for Black boys, right? Like I want them to see themselves in these stories. I want them to, you know, when I was a kid, I was what they call like a reluctant reader, right? Like, you know, a lot of kids in inner city schools, the ones that I worked at, teachers believe that these kids don't want to read. I mean, it's not that they don't want to read, it's just that they haven't had a story that connected with them the way that maybe hip hop connects with them, right? That speaks their truth. And so for me, you know, I'm constantly trying to tell those stories. I'm constantly trying to provide opportunity. I'm constantly trying to give back to those kids because, you know, I see a lot of myself in them. And being an educator, it really grew this affinity that I have for giving back to those boys. And so, you know, that's definitely one thing that's distinct about my voice than some of my, you know, maybe other filmmakers, other writers.
No, I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing. And oftentimes, you know, we like to uplift the voices of folks here that are speaking directly to men and boys who don't always feel like folks are speaking directly to them.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the reason why our lineup here at KBLA Talk 1580, you know, it features a lot of male voices, not at the expense of the voices of women, because we have plenty of women that are also on our station. But, you know, Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornell West, you know, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, myself, Zoe Williams. Throughout the day, it was important at the top of the year for us to make that programming decision, in part because we just came out of an election cycle where everybody was talking about Black men, but not talking to Black men or with Black men.
There you go. Yeah. And, you know, even if you saw the conversation around why Black men don't go to college, right? That recent conversation online is like, I think Black men have been misunderstood. And again, I don't want to get on here and say, oh, what was the Black man? But I do think it starts, I mean, across the board, it starts with our kids, boy, girl, right? It starts with our kids. And I just think that there's not enough attention paid to them. When I was an educator, something that I noticed was that it seemed like a lot of the choices were made to satisfy the constituents, to satisfy other adults. The same way you said, you know, there was an election and people were talking about Black men, but not to Black men. It's the same way in education. We're talking about kids, but rarely to the kids or with the kids. We rarely bring them into conversation. And so it was one of the reasons that I transitioned out, because I felt like there was so much red tape to do the thing that was clearly the best for the child, because of what the adults wanted, and I didn't like it. And so, yeah, man, it's just, you know, for me, the stories that I tell and the way I go about my art is always trying to meet kids where they're at. That's what I'm trying to do, meet kids where they're at, and hopefully inspire them, give them information, you know, some type of mentorship. Again, when I was a kid, I didn't necessarily have mentorship, certainly not from a black man. In fact, the only mentor that I ever had was a white man. I did a program called Mentors Inc., where they would pair these inner city kids with a mentor, and which he was great. But again, it just it's something about representation, right? That hits a little different. And so for me, I'm just trying to show kids that there is a way. There is a way, and one of those ways is telling your own story.
And one of the things I love about how you have channeled your story on the page and off the page is that you're still continuing the work of education. You're just continuing it through different platforms, right?
Yeah.
Just listening to you talk about some of the experiences that you've had, it's very clear to me that you're still teaching and that we're all still learning.
Yeah.
And so, what's your message to young people who are looking at you, they're looking at your life story, maybe they never thought about channeling their talents in the ways that you have. What little nugget do you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I would just say, think about, you can design your own life, essentially, right? Like whatever you want your life to be, you can be the architect of that, but you have to decide what it is, right? And then you have to get focused on that. You have to get disciplined on that, but you can do that 100%. And I think a lot of times when we don't feel like we have agency, particularly at a young age, we kind of let life happen to us versus taking it, by the horn, so to speak. And so that's what I would say is like, you can literally live the life that you want to live, but you just have to decide. And then you just have to, work towards that. And it's about discipline, it's about focus, but you can do it.
Nick, talk to us about the role that identity has played and continues to play in your work, how you shape characters, how you make the characters in your stories three-dimensional characters, especially at a time where, there are a lot of people that feel like to call out any aspect of our identity is somehow playing this political correct game that folks are so fatigued by.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's about what feels lived in. I'm writing, again, from what's real. A lot of my characters, I'm pulling pieces from real people I know, pulling pieces from myself. And that's why it's important to be out in the world and to be in schools and be working with kids, right? And not have that distance. I think when you have that distance is when sometimes you can maybe write flat characters. But for me, it's, I'm constantly in the schools and I'm constantly working with kids. And that, I think, is what helps me write characters that feel lived in, that feel three-dimensional, and that feel nuanced.
Are you going on tour with this book? Can our leaders, learners, and listeners tap in and listen to a live reading of the book, or
I'm actually just getting back to LA from tour. We were in DC, we were in Detroit, Minneapolis, Austin, Denver. We were all over. I'll be back in DC the first week of June and kind of out and about. But I think people, can tap in with me on the socials. You got my Instagram right down there, official Nick Brooks. You can go to my website, thenickbrooks.com, and you can really stay up to date on, the different cities I'll be in or the different events I'm either hosting out here in LA or back home in DC.
Well, we'll be looking for you. Our thanks to Nick Brooks. Again, his book was released on May 6th. It's called Up in Smoke. And for those of us particularly familiar with Washington, D.C., I think we're going to be especially drawn in to the story. Thank you for all that you do to lift us up and challenge us all at once.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. The quiet part out loud when we come forward. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Peace.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
No warrant, no key. My privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights. Hey, we all got rights.
Imagine every pregnant person in LA County having the support they deserve. A doula on every block. Doulas provide emotional, physical, and informational support during pregnancy, through labor, and beyond. Medi-Cal now covers doula care. That means you can get the support you need or train to support families in your community. The LA County Medi-Cal Doula Hub is here to help. Learn more and get started today at ladoulahub.com.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at pccfordena.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Let me just remind you that if you are thinking about going back to school, you want to upskill, maybe you want to get that master's degree, I want to help make your journey just a little bit easier, just a little bit, by providing you with a fee waiver for your application fee, should you be interested in Pepperdine University's Graduate School of Education and Psychology. On the psychology side, we have our marriage and family therapy program. We also have our counseling programming. And then on the education side, where I'm at, we have our social entrepreneurship and change program, as well as our organizational leadership and global leadership doctoral programs. And so if you're thinking about it and you're looking for a program that you can do full-time while you also work full-time, it is a hybrid programming, meaning that it's both in-person and online. I want to strongly encourage you to consider it. And should you be interested, just use the code PATH2PURPOSE, PATH, the number 2 purpose. And that's your fee waiver code. We will waive the $55 application fee, and it will also enter you into strong consideration for a $10,000 scholarship. And so thanks to the folks over at the Pepperdine Graduate School of Education and Psychology, we're making this opportunity available to our leaders, learners, and listeners, because we believe in the power of a quality education. And we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to be about it. And so there you have it. Finally, it's time for the quiet part out loud. Consider this the Cookie Monster edition, because if Andy, my brother and sound engineer, if he's correct, I'm sounding a little bit like Cookie Monster. It's not because I'm sick. It's just because I have allergies that have overtaken my voice. But I got a little bit more in the tank for you. The group behind Project 2025, did you know this? They have a plan to crush the pro-Palestinian movement. The New York Times is reporting that in late April, the Heritage Foundation, they dispatched a team to Israel to meet with power players in Israeli politics, including the country's foreign and defense secretaries and U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee. The conservative Washington-based think tank, best known for spearheading Project 2025, a proposed blueprint for President Trump's second term that called for reshaping the federal government and extreme expansion of presidential power. Now, get this, the Heritage contingent was in Israel, in part to discuss another contentious policy paper. It's called Project Esther, the foundation's proposal to rapidly dismantle the pro-Palestinian movement in the United States, along with its support at schools and universities, at progressive organizations, and in Congress. Drafted in the wake of the Hamas attack on Israel in 2023 and the mounting protests against the war in Gaza, Project Esther, it outlined an ambitious plan to fight anti-Semitism by branding a broad range of critics of Israel as, quotes, effectively a terrorist support network, so that they could be deported, defunded, sued, fired, expelled, ostracized, and otherwise excluded from what it considered open society. Project Esther's architect envisioned outcomes that at the time might have seemed far-fetched, but curriculum is believed to be sympathetic to a Hamas support narrative would be taken out of the schools and universities. Social media would be purged of content deemed to be anti-Semitic. Sound familiar? Institutions would lose public funding. Foreign students who push for Palestinian rights would have their visas revoked or be deported. Once a sympathetic presidential administration was in place, the plans said, quote, we will organize rapidly, take immediate action to stop the bleeding, and achieve all objectives within 2 years. That's Project Esther. So if you thought Project 2025 was something, take a gander at Project Esther. Because now, 4 months, just 4 months after President Trump took office, Heritage Foundation leaders are taking an early victory lap. You see, since the inauguration, the White House and other Republicans, they have called for actions that appear to mirror more than half of Project Esther, more than half of Project Esther's proposals. And that's not just me talking. That is an analysis from the New York Times that shows that, including threats to withhold billions in federal funding at universities and attempts to deport legal residents. In interviews with the Times, the Heritage Foundation's first public comment since President Trump took office about its blueprint for reshaping U.S. public opinion on Israel, Project Esther's architects said there were clear parallels between their plans and recent actions against universities and pro-Palestinian demonstrators on both the state and federal level. That's what the Heritage Foundation said in their first public comment. So they're not denying it. Quotes, the phase we're in now is starting to execute some of the line of efforts in terms of legislative, legal, and financial penalties for what we consider to be material support for terrorism. That's what the former deputy national security advisor to President Trump and the vice president at Heritage, who oversee Project Esther, that's what they said. Heritage officials said they do not know whether the White House, which has its own anti-Semitism task force, has used Project Esther as a guide. And guess what? Administration officials declined to discuss it. But Robert Greenway, who is a Heritage National Security Director, who co-authored Project Esther, he said it was, quotes, no coincidence that we call for a series of actions to take place privately and publicly that are now happening. And speaking of what's happening, some breaking news here. ABC News reporting that Representative LaMonica McIver has been charged by the Department of Justice over an incident with ICE agents. The Congresswoman, LaMonica McIver, was charged today for allegedly assaulting law enforcement officers outside of an ICE detention center facility earlier this month. Acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba announced that she was charging the Congresswoman with assaulting and impeding a law enforcement officer. A sitting Congresswoman is being charged with assault and impeding a law enforcement officer. This is America. We'll have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village. It helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Andy, our show producers, Faraji, Kim, and Art, and of course, each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. Remember, don't panic. Don't you do it. Organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to my Cookie Monster voice right here on A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.